Welcome to Homeless in San Diego. Real people, real voices. My name is Greg Angel. I am the CEO at Interfaith Community Services, and I'm joined today by Linda. Linda, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Greg.
So we just met like 5 minutes ago, right? We go way back.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
But you've been working with Interfaith for a little bit.
Yes.
We're going to talk a little bit about that. But before that, tell me a little bit about yourself and your background.
I grew up in South Bay.
Okay.
Right next to the border.
Yeah.
I grew up part-time in Tijuana, part-time on this side of the border. So I know a lot about what goes on at our border. I had a rough childhood. Everybody does. It was very difficult growing up. I lived in single-parent homes, so my dad was single parent for a while. My mom was a single parent, so I see both aspects. My dad had and still has an alcohol abuse problem, and so I see him struggle with that, and I think that's one of the main things that brought me into just kind of looking in the mirror. I strongly believe that some of us die so that others can live. And so seeing what my possible outcome would be, I chose a different path. It took me a while. I got arrested a lot. I got thrown in the drunk tank a lot. And I growing up as a kid, I did a lot of I did everything from A to Zinc. Anything that would try to fill a void that I had and could never find.
Well, you said that everybody has a rough childhood,
Mm-hmm.
and some people may agree with that, but others might say, no, some people have rough childhoods, some people don't.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think it might be a perspective that a lot of people in the community you grew up in had a rough childhood?
Yes, I think so. I mean, we all have a story. Good or bad, I try to learn from each and every either situation or person. Good or bad, I'm gonna learn from it. So yeah, I mean, definitely growing up in a rough neighborhood and seeing kind of just the downfall of just living in that type of environment.
Yeah.
I describe it as quicksand. It's like quicksand every time I go to my neighborhood because I get in some sticky situations really quick.
We've been doing this podcast for a few years, and most of the time we have people on the show who have overcome homelessness or experienced it themselves. But every now and then we have other people who bring different perspectives. We had a researcher from UCLA on a couple of years ago, and she actually analyzed data to try to predict who would become homeless. And so she looked at millions of records up in LA, and she found that the number one predictor of whether someone would lose their housing was not income, it wasn't addiction, mental health, physical health, employment. It was none of those things. The number one predicting factor was the zip code they lived in.
Yeah.
And it speaks to communities that are living in quicksand, right?
Oh yeah, it's kind of like when I was on probation as a juvenile. Like once you're in the system, it's so easy to get back in, and it was any little thing like, no matter how hard I tried or how many certificates I brought back to the judge saying I did this, and they would tell me 6 more months, and it's like, oh my God, what is it that you want from me, But again, it was a learning experience. I took a lot of classes. God willing, this September I'll have 3 years without a drink.
It's amazing.
So
congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. And I was a functioning alcoholic. So I had the apartment and I had the house. I had the car and I had the relationship, and so I had everything material, but inside I was still dying.
And then eventually you lost your housing, right?
Yeah.
What happened?
Funny story. A lot of people lose everything and then go into recovery. I went into recovering and then I lost everything.
Oh, okay. So you flipped the script.
A little bit. If anybody could do it, I can.
Yeah, I have no doubt.
So, it was I was working. Stuff hit the fan because of my alcoholism, and the relationship took off. I got hit by a car while I was on my way home from work. Actually, I had a headache, and I went home early, and then I got hit by a car, broke my back, broke my rib, and
when was that?
December of 2018. So I was only 2 months into my program.
2 months clean and sober, and then this happens.
And then I get hit by a car.
Wow.
And it was scary. It was scary because I had nothing as severe like that had happened to me before.
Mm-hmm.
And it was extra scary because I didn't know how to deal. I was still learning how to deal with myself and all my feelings. And because I wasn't self-medicating, it was like a flood of emotion over and over. Like it's a recurring tsunami of just emotions that I didn't know how to handle without, picking up. So
how'd you get through that?
A lot of prayer, brother.
That's good. But yet that wasn't when you lost your housing. That came later, right?
No, because I was in disability.
Okay.
And I made
so you
less.
had that income there.
Yeah, I made a lot less money than when I was working. So, it was. I couldn't afford the apartment anymore.
Okay.
But within this whole thing that was going on, my ex was homeless with our daughter. So she's not biologically mine, but I raised her since she was a baby.
Mm-hmm.
And they were out on the streets because her mom she got a lot of like untreated mental illness and stuff like that. So when she finally brought her to me, and I was fresh out of my program, I think I had like a month or so, when I finally reconnected with her again, and I showed her my little 30-day token, and she was so happy. Like I was like, this is like a little 25-cent chip, and it just the way her face lit up, and I will never forget that moment. And so when she brought her to me, and obviously she couldn't take care of her, and I was barely holding on to what I had, and if it wasn't me that she was going to go with, she was going to end up in the system.
Yeah.
And so I took on that responsibility.
Because you know what the alternative looks like.
Yes, I do. I do very much so. I haven't been in the foster system, but I've known a lot of people that have,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't want my daughter there.
Yeah.
That's, and that's not going to happen. As long as there's breath in my body, that's not going to happen. So I was juggling all of that. Plus recovering from my accident. See, I had seen her after my month into my program, and then she didn't come back into my life maybe about 4 to 5 months after that. So I was recovering and
taking care of another
11
kid,
at the
11
time.
years old. Okay.
She was 11 at the time, and so
then what happens from there?
I ended up losing my apartment because I couldn't pay for it. I had a child. So we were kind of, roaming from couch to couch, and I was trying to figure out whatever I could. I was going to school. That's when I was coming to Interfaith. I was going to Miracosta College. I was trying to get my high school diploma at the same time, and, taking my kid to and from school, making sure we had food, somewhere to sleep. So juggling all of this.
And maintaining your sobriety
and
and recovering from
all day.
Yeah. So what role did Interfaith play throughout all of this, or later on?
Interfaith was more of like an encouraging, somewhere where I would come and get my encouragement. I worked with Tom Christie for a while. Yeah. So he was always just blown away, and I was always amazed at how blown away he would be, because it was just me living my life or trying to do better.
Well, you were doing amazing things. All the things you were juggling and trying to overcome.
Yeah. So So, when I saw all these doors open up through Interfaith, I was like, thank you, God. This is what I needed.
So what specifically did Interfaith help with in the last year or so? Or
I
kind of
got
what?
my license through Interfaith, the homeless court program.
For our listeners, it's part of a program we operate that we work with the court system to help demonstrate the good work that you're doing, and in return, they help
Yeah.
dismiss some of those fines. And
Yeah,
so
it was
you get your
amazing.
driver's license for the first time.
Yeah.
Well, what else have you done
At
recently?
35 years old,
Yeah,
I got
well,
my
congrats.
driver's license.
Yeah.
And, it's funny because I tell my family, and they're, they get super happy because they know what I've gone through.
Sure.
And
Sure.
how far I've come,
Mm-hmm.
so far.
And what are you doing for work now?
Well, I do security. Actually, Interfaith is helping me get a lot of like the certs that I need for my guard card.
Okay,
So
for the
he
security.
paid-
Yeah.
yes.
You recently graduated.
Yes, that was another thing Interfaith helped out with. I've been trying to get my diploma for a long time. Education wasn't one of the things that was important to me when I was a kid. My teachers would always tell me, you have so much potential. You're so smart.
And you graduated.
And
I saw
graduated.
your graduation photo.
Yeah.
You, and I don't know if your kids are in the photo or
Yeah, my daughter
Yeah.
and my fiance and her son.
Nice, nice. Linda, what has the impact of COVID been on you and
Oh man,
your family?
The COVID, it turned my life upside down.
How so?
Well, for an addict like me, to be isolated is the most dangerous thing that can happen. During the lockdown, I felt like I was losing my mind. I didn't have my meetings. I couldn't go to school, which was vital at the time because I was doing sports in school, and that was one of my outlets. I have to be obviously constantly moving, constantly doing something, because if not, the hamster wheel in my head just doesn't stop spinning. So I have to keep active, and I've known more people in my immediate circle. We lost anywhere between 5 to 7 people
Sorry.
during the lockdown, either through suicide, overdose. And a lot of our friends went back out. They started drinking again. They started using. I don't know if I'll ever see them again. So it was tough.
Yeah.
Still
Well,
is.
You made it through. You said it still is. I was just about to ask you. How are things today, and what's the future hold for you? So you've graduated. You've gotten some security certifications. What's next for you on your path?
I think I do want to continue the security. I want to dabble into corrections.
Okay. In what way?
I do want to work with people behind the walls because, that's a dark place as well. I want to bring light to dark places, and so I want to work with kids in corrections, and then hopefully move up to adults. But baby steps. I do want to go back to school, and I want to go into alcohol and other drugs, do counselor or something. I eventually want to get into probation or parole.
Well, if anyone can bring light to dark places, Linda, it's you. You've brought light to us today with your smile and your strength, and so boldly sharing all that you've gone through and where you've been and where you are now and where you want to be in the future. This is a show to try to help people understand the realities behind homelessness, to kind of break some myths around homelessness, and help people understand that these are challenges that a lot of people are facing. And also to remove stigmas around homelessness and just not having housing for periods of time.
Yeah, it was tough. I had my daughter, and there was times where, we did have to sleep in the car. And thank God I had a car.
Mm.
And I would take her down to a friend's house in San Diego because I had to work up here. And where I do the training in Oceanside, I actually used to take showers right there down by the beach before work, or and I think this was the time when it was raining a lot. It's like, oh well, we've got to do what I got to do, and it's just knowing that it's temporary. Knowing that it's temporary, it would help me pull through. Like, I'm gonna look back at this, and it's just gonna be a memory.
Yeah. People listening to this show are listening to learn, but they're also listening because they want to help. They want to do something. They want to make a difference. What do you think is something that somebody who might be listening to this can do to help others who may have experienced some of the things that you've gone through, and what they can, what they might do to make a positive impact?
Volunteering is key, I believe, and I know because I do it too. It brings me so much joy to help them, and through helping them, I'm helping myself. It's a little selfish.
It's a good kind of selfish. So volunteering, it's a great way to get involved. And for our listeners, obviously we have lots of volunteer opportunities here at Interfaith Community Services. But to your point, there's so many good organizations out there. So get out there and volunteer, get involved, make a difference. Linda, thank you so much for being on our show today. Thank you for sharing and for bringing the light today.
Yes, thank you. I appreciate it.